Hi, this is Mike from Leaderboard. I've got an update on all things on Leaderboard to do with credits, points, extra points, bonus points. It's all kind of been revised a little bit for 2025, so I wanted to go over some of the changes. There's quite a lot to get through, so I'm going to try and keep this as brief as I can, but there's a little bit to go through here. So I'll also back this up with a document which I'll distribute shortly. And then I'm also available for any questions that you might have. There are some subtle differences between the leagues, so I can help you with that separately if necessary. Anyway, let's jump in. I'm going to use the Oakmont Women's League just for most of this demo. So the changes really there's some presentation changes which we'll get to in a minute, but really a few of the leagues on Leaderboard wanted to be able to have both credits for tournament play and points in parallel with that in order to keep track of sort of a player of the year standings, a little bit like the FedEx Cup, I guess. And in addition to that, I've also separated out and automated some of the processing for some of the credit extras that get paid out, things like birdies, eagles, hole-in-ones, closest to the pin, so on and so forth. So we'll go through each of these parts separately, and show you where the settings are and how that's going to have an effect on your tournaments within Leaderboard. I will say there is quite a lot to get through here, but I'm hoping that these changes are going to actually simplify the work for admins to a degree. The leagues that have that want to do credits, points in parallel, there's a bit more complexity. But if you're just having one or the other, for example, I know the Oakmont leagues all just work with credits, and they have some extras as well. So that's it should be quite a straightforward transition, and the support for the extra points, which I'll show you, should simplify tournament closeout, as a lot of that stuff can be automated, and it'll save you having to go through looking for birdies and assigning them credits like that. So let's jump in a little bit here, and we'll just go through some of the admin stuff, and then we'll do a demo tournament. So the first thing to look at is on the general settings page. And under the tournaments section here, there's a few changes we need to look at. What's really new here is this little section at the bottom, where we have a setting for credit, one for extras, one for points, and how you want the points to be called. I'll explain that in a second. Anyway, so credit basically means, am I going to use credits on my tournaments this year? Yes or no. Am I going to do extras? Yes or no. And this is at the club level, and then I'll show you how on individual tournaments you can turn this on and off. Am I going to have points? Yes or no. If I'm having points, how do I want to display that? So, for example, one league wants to call their points PTY, Player of the Year, but the default is just points, PTS for a short version, and then points for a longer versions. But you can configure that if you want to. So, for example, my league this year is going to do credits and points. So for my league, this setting would be yes. We don't have extras actually, but it would be yes for credit and yes for points. The majority of leagues, as I just said a moment ago, will just be one or the other here. And the important thing to note is the extras will attach themselves. If credit is yes, it will attach to credit. If points is yes, it will attach to the points. If both are set to yes, the extras will go to credit. And I'll show you how that works in the demo. But suffice to say, you can control at the club level what you're going to process in your results. And this is where you do it here. So In most cases, it will be credit yes, points no, and extras yes. And this is why I chose one of the open leagues, because this is more of a typical setup here. Okay, so that's on the general settings. Now, underneath that, one of the necessary changes from here is that we have credit templates. Actually, I'm going to show you just to show you how this looks. I'll just jump into my league here. As I mentioned, we're running in parallel this year. We're running credits and points. So you'll notice here on my miscellaneous tasks here, I've got credit templates and also player of the year templates. And this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. But again, most leagues, it's just going to be one or the other. So coming back to Oakmont, sorry, I should say, you'll see here, because there's no points involved, they just have a credit template. And this is exactly as it was before. So there's no changes to this whatsoever. It's just the credit template with the points that the credits that you're gonna assign during the tournament processing. And again, this is not changed, so that's good. So let's go back to miscellaneous tasks. The other thing that is new now is the extra credits, and this is most of the leagues, as I said, pay out credits for things like birdies, closest to the pin, eagles, chip-ins, and various other score-related achievements. So in the odds and ends here, there's a new entry called extra credit config, and this is where you define which credits what extra credits you're going to assign, and how much you pay out, and so on. So, for example, for Oakmont women, we have first of all, the list of categories available here. So we have chip-ins, birdies, hole-in-ones, eagles, long drives close to the pin. Those are I can add more to this. That's all I could think of for now. But anyway, these are the categories, and then what you say is, these are the ones that I want to be active with. And also, this is more of an automatic setting here. You can turn it on or off, but by default, if it's a score-related achievement, so obvious example is a birdie. If you get a birdie, because you're inputting that score on your scorecard, Leaderboard knows that is a birdie. So these categories can be automated. Now, you can still track the birdies separately, but you could do it manually. So you would say, so active means these are the categories that I want to track, and auto if available. So, for example, like long drive, there's no way for me to know, or I should say Leaderboard to know who made a long drive just from the score. So that has to be a manual. So that's why these are not automated. But something like the birdies, hole-in-ones. Now, Oakmont particularly is a special case because it's a par 3 course. A hole-in-one is an eagle. So you'll notice here that I'm not going to pay out hole-in-one and eagle because they're the same thing. So hole-in-one is active. Eagle is not active because it's going to be superseded by hole-in-one. These are automatic because I know that that's happened. And these are the credits that are going to get paid out for those events. So $2 for chip-in, $2 for birdie, $50 for a hole-in-one. Okay, so that's the extra credit configuration. That's where you control what gets paid out, and this will become clearer when we get into a little demonstration of a tournament in a second. So let's cancel that. And that's the only changes on the sort of background config side. So let's go. Let's create a tournament. So we'll go here. We're just going to create a dummy tournament. I'll make sure to delete this afterwards, ladies. And then so let's just do a simple stroke play. And let's do credits and extras. Test. Okay, I'm just going to put no post modifier in here so that we don't post any scores accidentally. And here you'll see the credit template, which we again this is exactly as it was before. Again, for my league, as I said, because we're doing both, I would have a points template selection here, and then you have the option here to turn credits on or off. So because we're tracking on that general settings page, we said yes, we're going to do extra credits. This defaults to yes here. If for some reason you just didn't want to do it for this tournament, you could just turn it off. So that would say, well, even though I'm doing extra credits in general level on this particular tournament, for some reason I don't want to do that. But let's leave it at yes, obviously, for this demonstration. Let's just do mixed flights to keep it simple, and that should be it. So let's just hit save on that, and we'll go back to the okay. Again, I've got tripped up by my own coding. I have a default which says if it's late in the evening, default to the next day. So I don't want to do that in this case. Let's go back to 24th. Sorry about that. Okay, now it's green. That's good. So, okay, go back to the home page. Okay, so now we've got an active tournament. So I'm going to enter. Let's see, Laura Williams. Enter. And we'll do another one. Back off. And we'll do one more for good measure. Okay. All right, so we've got 3 entries in the tournament now. So let's go ahead and post some scores for these. And again, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to obviously contrive this a little bit so that we can demonstrate the capabilities of what we're talking about now. So I'm going to do a birdie here, and okay, that's it for Michelle. Post. So there's a birdie. Again, it's not going to be apparent until we actually do the results. So let's just post those other 2 scores. Donna. So let's say Donna's going to have 1 chip in. Let's say 2 chip ins. Short game magic. And everything else is just regular. Let's give her actually one of those chip ins was a birdie, let's say. Post score. Okay, so there's my chip ins, a birdie, and then one more score for Laura. So here we're going to do nothing special going on except a hole-in-one on number 5. So, okay, so that's good. So post. All right, so net score of -1. That's good. All right, so back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's calculate the results for this tournament, and then let's see the magic that's going to happen here. All right, so the other thing that I've done, and this will be more apparent for team situations, is I've changed the presentation of this a little bit. It's pretty much the same, but the work I've done here will make it much more easy to read on small devices like phones and tablets. It's not so apparent here, but you'll see that if you look at it on the phone. And the other thing to notice, of course, is now we have gross and net, which was what we had before, but now we have this extra set of results called extras, and this is really the big change I just wanted to go over in terms of the presentation. But anyway, gross is the same, net is the same. So this is just the regular credits being paid out. The resetting of some of these values if there is a payment on the other side. So you'll see Laura and Donna are getting paid out on the gross side, so they don't get paid out on net. That's as it was before. And then the extras. This is stuff that you were doing manually last year. So this is where I'm hoping there's going to be a bit of a time saver for the admins in closing out these tournaments. So you'll note on the extras, it's just a straight list of players. It's not attached to gross or net because it's really just about the score. So Michelle had 2 birdies. The code here is B for birdie. Birdie. Oh, no, this isn't working. Actually, I need to check this, but this isn't. This looks like. Oh no. It was just 1 birdie. I'm sorry, 1 birdie. It was $2. Sorry, the amount threw me off. 1 birdie. On hole number 6, you'll see here there's like a long version of the note. This is really just for the admin. So if you wanted to go back to the scorecard and check out where this stuff happened, you can do that a little bit easier with this longer note. And this is more of a short form for the results page. So you'll see here Donna had chip in times 2 and a birdie, so that's $4 in total. And Laura had the hole-in-one, and there's the 50 hole-in-one on number 5. Okay, so that's the extras tab. If we look at what this looks like on the results page, which this is going to be again a new format, but it's similar, but it's really just a toned down version. I've tried to save a little bit of space for the phones. So you'll notice here where the value's been, this used to be sort of stacked up against each other here. So if the value is 0 because it's been overridden, I'm just putting that in line here just to save a little bit of space. And again, the extras has just got the, what this will do is if you're on the phone, I'm not sure if this will work on this demo, but if we, let's just see if this works. I'm not sure it'll work on this demo, but let's see. If I shrink this down, notice how the description here has gone to the short form, but it recognizes if I've got enough space, then it's going to put the long version of that note in here. So that's just another little configuration change. Let's just blow that back up. Okay, so that's really it. There's not a real lot more to this. As I said, for most leagues where they just have either the credits or the points, it's really not that big a change. The big thing is this extra tab here on the results and the automation of this processing for the admins, which should save some time. The other place where this is different is in the reports. So if we look at the credit report, this is a little bit different. So, okay. Sorry, I can't do that. I need to set this, set these results to final, so because we're on the same day. So hopefully this works. Credit. Okay, there it is. Okay, so here's my credit report. Now, what's different here is I've broken out the extra points that are shown on this credit report now. So all of the extras that you get during the year are shown separately in a separate column, not mixed up in the regular or special event buckets. So this will make the sort of accounting a little bit different. The total here is the same. It's just the sum of these 3 columns. And as I said, there's a special extra column here now for the extra points that are awarded. And so just makes it easier to keep track of everything. And again, so if you click onto an individual, this is as it was before. It's where the credits were earned. And so Donna, in this case, got 5 credits, 4 of which were extras. No, that should be. Oh no, that's no. This should be 9, right? So that's 9. So that's 5 credits for the tournament and 4 credits for the from the extra bucket. Yeah, so there's 9 in total there. I should put that on the detail page. Yeah, I'll add that. Anyway, so that's I think that's pretty much everything. The other thing for the leagues that are using points, this report would actually show the participation points as well. So I know, for example, Pinecrest use the points system rather than credits. It's kind of the same thing, but it's in terms of having participation points as well. So I can just jump over there briefly. Actually, if we want to, let's go. Pinecrest. So, and again, for Pinecrest itself, this hasn't changed. So the points and participation points or entry points are specified on the settings. Again, you'll notice here that extra credits are in play, but they're using more on the point, more of the sort of player of the year, accumulating through the year. It's really, there's really not a lot of difference here, but it's really about whether you want to have participation points as well in that calculation. And those participation points will be broken out separately on the credit report. So that's a change. What else we've got to show you here? So here's Oakmont Men's League. I'll just show you one of the differences you can do. So the Men's League like to call their credits birdie bucks. So you can actually override, instead of having birdie here, you can call this whatever you want. So in that case, it's a birdie book. So that will fill that in automatically on the results. That's just a little customization, and that's really it. So for something like, so let's say we wanted to do. Let's go back to our demo tournament. Let's go back to the results. So something like the closest to the pin, as I said before, it's really not something you can do based on the score. So this is similarly to last year with the credits. You can just then override this. So let's say we have $2 for closest to the pin. So we're going to give Michelle an extra $2. We're going to say closest to the pin, and we'll say closest to the pin on number 3 or whatever. So this is where you would supplement these extras with some manual entry. And as I said, long drive, not for a par 3 course, but long drives or closest to the pin, you would put in manual like this. Remember to hit save. And then if we look at the results again, that should be reflected now on the extras tab for Michelle. So there's extra $2 and the closest pin on number 3. All right, so I think that's it. I'm going to send around a document just sort of going over some of this stuff again in a bit more detail. And as I said before, I'm available to talk to you individually if you've got questions about how to configure this stuff. So please reach out if you've got any questions. Okay, that's all for now. Have a good night. Thanks very much. Bye.